Well, I was aware of them. Joan Baez and others sang some of those protest songs. Bob Dylan did, and I think at that time, some of Dylan's songs were quasi-political in nature, and they were anti-war, for peace, and so I think that those kind of performers and others that I need not mention not only recognized the protest movement against the Vietnam War and against the lies that were being told to the American people by some of our political leaders, but also helped to instigate further protest. They not only represented the views of the protesters in their lyrics and I guess in their, certainly in the words that they sang, but also they became part of the protest movement. So I was a state senator and a governor during the Vietnam War. My oldest son was in Vietnam. He left college and volunteered to go to Vietnam. And I remember that the impact of the protest movement was so profound that when Jack came home from Vietnam on brief leave periods, he found it uncomfortable to wear his uniform because his friends and fellow classmates in high school and college looked on him as not only naive and foolish in volunteering to go to Vietnam when he wasn't drafted, but also because he was taking part in an increasingly unpopular American endeavor in which we should never have become involved.
Do you think that your decision to pardon the men that were avoiding the draft, do you think any correlation to the music and sort of the cultural force coming out of music and society?
Well, I had two motivations as a brand new president. I did it the first day I was in office. One was to get the Vietnam divisiveness in the United States healed. And I knew that there would remain a strong remnant of the protest movement as long as we had thousands of young Americans who had gone to Canada as part of the protest. Was motivation for some of them. And so I decided to pardon them to get over the trauma and divisiveness of the Vietnam War era. And I don't think there's any doubt that the music, was part of that, because when I was in the governor's mansion, I would say the number one performer that we heard in the White House, in the governor's mansion, primarily because of the influence of my sons who were teenagers, was Bob Dylan's. And my middle son, Chip, who was in Macon last night, he knew every lyric of every song that Bob Dylan had written. And I knew a lot of them as well. So I don't think there's any doubt that when I moved from governor to president, that was still resonating in my, subconsciousness at least.